the agenda. Okay, thank you. It's 1 o'clock and I'll call today's meeting to order. We have an agenda in front of us. Does anybody have any additions to the agenda? I have just one question about the agenda. I just realized this one, we're missing the COVID task force meeting minutes. Should we not have those on here?
Your worship?
Yeah.
Typically, we bring it back to that committee.
Okay, and we don't, okay, thanks for the clarification. Councillor Fraser?
If I have an inquiry, do I need to add that now, or can I just add it under 12?
Yeah.
When we get there?
Oh, yeah, we get there, yeah. All right, seeing no additions, just a motion to accept as presented, please. Councillor Fraser, all in favor? And that's carried. And we'll move on to number 3.1. Ahsoka Friendship Society. Welcome, Kirby.
Thank you.
Now, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, your worship, council and staff for having me today. I'm here before you to announce that we're going to host a community event this Sunday, June 21st, National Indigenous Peoples Day. And very short notice, we just received some funds to host this event, despite the new launch of to 100 people and that. So we decided last Wednesday that we're going to try and pull something off. So what we're planning is a small parade, starting from Home Hardware, going up Main Street and then east towards 7-Eleven, then south to Shell, and then back to Home Hardware. And I'd like to, so what we're going to have is a truck full of a trailer with some drum group on it, and then hopefully approximately 20 dancers following. We'll also have a fire truck following, we'll have the county Bigfoot car following, and hopefully, so I'm for you today, your town car and driver leading the way or following. I'll let you and the county decide that and have your fists up. That's not my issue. So the small parade at 2 on Sunday, and at 3 p.m. we're gonna have a free community barbecue in our parking lot, and yeah, and then fireworks to follow around 11 o'clock. So I'm here before you to see if you can participate and have your town car along in that small parade. It's probably a 40-minute walk. It's similar to our Friendship Walk, very similar to our Friendship Walk route. That and a contribution to the event. Last year we spent approximately 14 grand when we hosted it here, and this year it won't be near that. There'll be costs for drummers and dancers, hamburgers, hot dogs, all the condiments, advertising, and of course fireworks. Yeah, so and then of course we're going to be practicing physical distancing. So the idea in the parking lot is we're going to have some tables set up, but distance appropriately, and we'll provide the opportunity for people to come in the back alley, pull up, and then we deliver free hamburger, hot dog, and plastic water bottle. Sorry. So there'll be food and beverage. And then, yeah, that'll be it. Then the fireworks will be hosted in the vacant lot south of the fire hall. We just had everything approved, we got the fireworks application signed off by the chief. Chief fire, his title. So we have that in place, we have insurance. We have up to $5 million liability insurance for fireworks. Yeah. Oh, the other request was, and I was hoping to have a town staff member cut some grass. It doesn't have to be as extensive as it was last year. By far a lot smaller area. The only thing I'm waiting for is an email or a letter from the property owner authorizing a town staff member to go on land and cut some grass. Yeah, so welcome any questions you have. Oh, so I went before the county committee yesterday and approached the same as I'm approaching you now. And they're bringing their Sasquatch vehicle and the fire truck and some staff and committing $2,500 to the event. So, yeah. So I'm here before you to request the same amount. If it's something that you'll be interested in. And I know Canada Day, there will not be any fireworks this year, so we'll be sad to not have our traditional fireworks.
Kirby, how much are the fireworks? Do you know?
After I take away all the expenses, it all depends on what's left. So I'm hoping that last year, I think we spent, like, I really wish I would have looked into it, but I think it was $5,500 on last year on the fireworks that we had here. They were pretty good. They were considerably long and fantastic.
Do we have money in our budget for this year for Canada Day fireworks?
I know we donated $2,000 to the Canada Day Committee for them to use it as what they're going to use it for. So I can't comment on what it's being used for. If it's being used for the virtual Canada Day that they're hosting on July 1st. I can't comment on where that funds are being used.
Any other questions? Councilor Fraser?
Would this be something that could fall under the community grant umbrella?
We suspended that though.
Okay.
Didn't suspend that until September.
Your worship, the council does have $15,000 in budget for Indigenous relations. That was earmarked for 5,000 for the community showcase, which still may happen this fall. We had 10,000 for relates that won't happen.
Okay, Councilor Narend?
As this is something that happens every year, is it something that we can just include in our budget going forward? We budget a certain amount for the Indigenous Day National Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, your worship, yes.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Okay. We have council's wishes then.
Are we doing that now or?
Oh, I guess, yes, thank you. Any other questions for Kirby? No? Thanks for your presentation, Kirby. We will be discussing it in about two minutes.
That would be great because then we have our poster ready. I'd love to have your logo on it.
Okay.
And show all the community support. Just so you know, we have the county, West Fraser, Tidewater, and your dollars that go probably to advertising, whatever. It's all in one pot right now.
Okay,
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'd like to stay, so.
yeah, you're welcome to stay. Okay. Thank you, then.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to number 4, 4.1, the draft regular meeting minutes from June the 9th. Anybody have any? So just looking for a motion to accept. Councillor Alderson, all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. So we'll move on to number 5.1. Delegation business, Ahsoka Wind Friendship Society. Okay. Councillor Alderson?
I'm assuming that as long as we have permission from the landowner, it shouldn't be an issue for us to cut the grass through there.
Worship, I haven't talked to Mr. Jenks obviously yet about it, but we did do that 2 years ago.
And what does that take, maybe a couple of hours to do that with big machinery or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worship probably around.
Councillor Alt?
I think we have the funds already set aside, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, the funds are there. Are the vehicle available? Somebody available to try the vehicle?
I would be available to drive.
It's a holiday, so it's actually a good day for people to get out of the house and celebrate.
I'll take time away from my father to drive.
Yeah, bring him.
Maybe I'll bring him with
Bring him
me.
out, yeah.
That's right. Okay, so just looking for some direction then. For a motion. Councillor Narang?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the request for $2,500. As well as, do I have to include the vehicle and the grass cutting, or is that just something that's operationally gonna happen?
Your worship, for the grass being part of the resolution.
Okay, so that we approve that the town used town resources to cut the grass, and that we approve the $2,500 contribution towards the event.
Okay, any questions on that motion? Okay, all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you.
Awesome, thank
Thanks.
you very much.
I'll follow up again and get some more
Absolutely.
information.
Absolutely, and I'll be sharing our poster with Renee. And, yeah, and then you'll probably be hearing something nice for.
Good job in getting it together so quickly.
Yeah, thank you for your support, and make sure to make it, the fireworks will be amazing, along with everything else.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thanks,
rest of your
Kirby.
day.
Thanks, Kirby.
Sunday at 2. Okay, we'll move on to number 6. 6.1, RFD, property tax management for manufactured home community. Betty?
Good afternoon, your worship and council. So last fall, we had, meetings with council and with the park owners as well as various manufactured home owners. And it was decided at that time, we were looking at whether we should transfer the taxes to the park owners or do the mandatory tips. There was quite a bit of discussion, and at the end of it, we determined that we would do a 6-month sort of monitoring situation. Having gone through it all and, reviewing all of the MGA requirements and the options that are available to us, the one is where you transfer the taxes to the park owners and then it's up to them to collect. The other option is under section, it's 357. You can make it compulsory to go on tips. So I did look at it, our tax coordinator, she looked at it. We pulled quite a bit of data and tried to sort of look at what's happened in the last 6 months. What we found was that, and I have some little tables on the 3rd page, but basically 30% of the homeowners in the parks are now on the TIPS program. The park owners were going to try to get as much compliance as possible. I mean, we were hoping to get 100%, but obviously that didn't happen. But when I look at the data, all the rest of our properties in town were at 29% on tips. And I also looked at the outstanding taxes between last year and this year as of June 2nd, which was when we were doing this. And there has been a significant improvement. I think we've gone down overall $18,000. And if I just look at the arrears, it's down $6,000. So the arrears, anything over a year is at 21,000. So I do think there's movement. You know, I kind of weighed the pros and cons and how the different owners would react to it. I know there was a strong feeling by some of the property owners that do pay their taxes and that are compliant, that they didn't want to be sort of more regulated. I guess when I look at it, and there's, you know, the several options available to you, but I think we would like another 6 months or a period of time to continue working with them. And, you know, I think if we send out a message to the homeowners as well as the park owners and show the progress and really try to focus on the ones that are in arrears and either getting them caught up or working with them, I think we could probably improve it even more. And that's really what we're trying to get at, and just continue to improve the relationships. So that is, in summary, what I would recommend.
I'm happy to hear that. I think that's awesome that we're getting more and more on the TIP program, and I agree. I think we should just continue on trying to encourage more people to go on.
Just in the document, I mean, there's out of 199 properties, there's 17 that we need to work with, so it's not that it's a huge number. And I'd rather try to deal with those than blanket 199 and upset all the people.
I would agree with that. Councilor Fraser?
And they may already be doing this, but are we able to work with the park owners on their move-in procedures and have the tips kind of be part of the new move-in? So as time goes on, basically everyone will end up kind of on that program mostly by attrition.
We can recommend it, and I know the park owners were in favor of that, so we can do a sort of a renewal of that and encouraging them that they give them a package and that they encourage the tips. And then talking with Libby's that, you know, she really worked with the people that are in arrears to try to get them on tips and come up with some, we're really trying to look for some creative solutions that, you know, can not only help them, but help us as well, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? We have a recommended motion, and I know that, but I don't have a computer right now. So, Councilor Phillips?
I'm making a motion that council direct administration to continue working with the PMH and MHC owners to improve the compliance on property tax payments and monthly reporting for the next 6 months to see if compliance continues to improve.
Any other questions on that motion? All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. I'll sit down. Somebody to fix this for me. Yeah, the agenda. Thanks very much. Yeah, please. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to number 6.2, the Heritage River System.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay, Council. Good afternoon. At the June 2nd regular council meeting, council asked that I bring back more information regarding the Heritage, Canadian Heritage River System. So I provided for you a little bit of a background with the legislation and policy. So initially it came in at the February 4th meeting, and council asked for more information at that time. So we did provide some information. There was an email from the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance, as well as an email from Smoky Lake County that provided additional information, which is attached as well. Council also directed administration to bring the resolution or to bring forward the Heritage River System to Clearwater County. Clearwater County has decided not to participate at this time. The information that I received from Clearwater County is that they're going to take it to the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance AGM, which is tomorrow, to see if there's more information that they can get from the NSWA. I did, however, attach an email that I received from the NSWA because I had followed up with Leah Kronsrud. And basically what she said is historically, it was the NSWA that was working on getting that designation for the North Saskatchewan River. You know, they ran into, I guess, some roadblocks with it and it kind of got put to the wayside, and Smoky Lake County actually has picked it up and is working on trying to get this designation for the river. So a couple of things that I'd like to point out that were in the attachments is the designation. So what Ms. Kronsrud indicated is that the designation is basically ceremonial. It provides national and international recognition that can support municipal and provincial tourism and economic development. So there's no other kinds of restrictions that are placed on that designation according to the information that was received from both Smoky Lake County and SWA. In the email attachment that was received, there were some frequently asked questions, and I kind of went through and I highlighted some of the things that I thought, you know, would be important for council to see. So, you know, some of the things with the Canadian National River Conservation Program, you know, there are conservation efforts. However, any participation in those kinds of efforts is at the level of the municipality. So they try to encourage conservation efforts, but it's certainly not a requirement under that designation. It doesn't impact any land ownership, land uses. There's no additional restrictions. It's strictly a commemorative designation. It's intended to facilitate recreation, interpretation, and tourism. One of the things in discussing and talking on the phone with the gentleman from Smoky Lake County is his intent in bringing this forward is to see improvements to tourism, because apparently there's an international market for that designation, and it does attract you know, certain international tourists from, you know, that want to canoe the rivers and whatnot. So.
Councillor Alderson?
I appreciate that report. I thank you for the highlighted areas. Yeah, any of my initial concerns where maybe we wouldn't have control, maybe it would impact, you know, whoever has property down by the river. It doesn't seem to be a concern. Like, it's ceremonial title only. I'm seeing a lot of pros. I'm not seeing any cons out of this. If anything, it's going to bring attraction to the area, which is exactly what we want to do. I'm not seeing any negatives here. That was a great report. Thank you.
I am taking part in the NSWA AGM, but it's next week, right, the 24th?
I've got it on the.
Tomorrow is supposed to be the in-person one, but it's next week that the virtual one is.
Okay.
So, yeah, do you want to wait one until the beginning of July, or do we want to go ahead?
Yeah, personally, I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't need to see anything to follow behind. The information that county's looking for is already provided here. Like, what other information do we need? I think we have enough to make a decision personally. Yeah.
Okay. I'd be more comfortable actually just seeing at the AGM next week how many other people have signed on, because it says here that nobody has really, what did North Saskatchewan, the Alliance said? They've shown an interest, the County of Smoky Lake, in reapplying, but they haven't actually done that yet. So, Councillor Brown and then Councillor Alderson.
Yeah, I don't see any harm in waiting a little bit. There's no urgency to get this done now. And we use the AGM more as a supporting effort as opposed to anything. So, I agree with Councillor Alderson in saying that to delay it is not harm.
Councillor
I mean, it's
Olderson?
not, I mean, it won't hurt my feelings either way, although personally, I like the fact that we take leads and we're not just following everybody else, like a lot of, let's leave it at that, like we're not following, that we're not always following, just to see what everybody else does. Either we stand for something or we don't, so again, I'm okay with the information given to either vote for or against, so I think there's enough information to make that decision today.
Thank you. Councillor Narang?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Alderson, and I think based on the information provided, it fits within our strategic plan as far as tourism. So I don't know why we would wait either, but again, I am happy with it, but it just seems like we can find it out.
Any other discussion? Anybody else want to weigh in? Councillor Fraser?
I agree with the concept of the Heritage River, and we do have a lot of rich voyager history right here, and I know a lot of, even the style of the buildings in town, kind of harken back to the Red River area and the styles, so I think it makes a lot of sense for our tourism and to get on international boards in front of people who are looking for historical trips. We do have a lot of history here that a lot of small places don't, and I think we should capitalize on that. This would help do that. I'm happy to do it today.
Anybody else?
I agree.
Direction going then? Somebody want? Councillor
I'll
Alderson?
make a motion, see how this goes. I'll make a motion that council is instructing the administration to provide a letter of support to Smoky Lake County for the designation of the North Saskatchewan River to the Canadian Heritage River System.
Any questions or discussion around that? All those in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. So we'll move on to 6.3, the taxi bylaw. Sorry, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Just before you in regards to taxi bylaw 2020-02, which was amended on March 3rd by bylaw 2020-06. Since then, administration has been wanting or willing to meet with taxi operators in regards to the existing bylaw. Administration did meet with one taxi operator in regards to the existing bylaw. He did have concerns, comments that we did address in creating a new bylaw for taxi operators within our community. In regards to strategic plan, we did listen to individuals of the community in regards to the taxi bylaw, so we are following part of our strategic plan. Just the comment section. There were some comments that the taxi operator was concerned about, and I did ask my senior peace officer Schmales to answer these concerns in regards to his comments. I won't go through them all, but number 4 is just regarding mechanical deficiencies. As you can see, the answer is below each number. Service standards is in regards to the fare being posted on the actual window of the taxis. As he answers, it's fairly standard practice in regards to listing the taxi rates. In regards to the collision side of it, of course, we want to know if there's a vehicle that's been in a collision and what kind of repair or what kind of shape that vehicle is in. So that was one of his concerns, but the answer is there for protective services. The fare structure on section 8 does talk about the minimum and maximum fares. If council wanted to set that, that's at last resort that we have that opportunity or option. As you can see, a comment from Peace Officer Smales is there. Also, section 12, which is not in this, he brought it to our attention or addressed it on Monday in regards to structural integrity, part of the inspection. In that section, we do ask for, just for the mechanical inspection, just to look at the body, see what kind of shape it's in, the floor, the frame, that type of stuff. We're not asking for x-rays of the frame or anything like that, just basic observation of the structural integrity of the vehicle. So that was one of his concerns there. So in regards to the changes to the actual bylaw from 2020-02, we did miss class 3 in the operation of the taxi. To have a valid Alberta license, class 3, you can do a taxi operator or driver. Taxi inspection section, the sections that are highlighted yellow with red are ones I am adding to the bylaw. Or of course, the ones that are crossed out twice per year will be taking that out of the new bylaw. In regards to taxi, naming your taxi, we are going to take it off the front doors and have it on both sides of the taxi. If you're in operation of the taxi vehicle, you must have it out of service if you're not using it for taxi purposes, if you're going from point A to point B. Service standards, you have to make sure your license is visible with photograph, which we issue presently. Each taxi operator, taxi driver gets a valid permit to drive taxi. We are removing section R from the service standards. And that would be where it talks about service records. We can ask upon request that they supply them to us. Also, section 14 is this, we're going to repeal bylaw repeals 2018-31B. This bylaw also repeals 2002 and amending bylaw 2020-06. Any questions in regards to the new taxi bylaw 2020-16?
Councillor Alt?
Just curious if this satisfied the concerns to the most part.
So, your worship, the taxi cab company that's initiated it for most of the lot of these changes, I did talk to him this week and reviewed the revised bylaw. In the revised bylaw, he had 2 concerns. One was posting the fare schedule on the cab. Comments were other businesses don't have to post prices, so why do taxi cabs? That was his reasoning. I mean, I know I reviewed that with Mr. Schwader and our police officers, and still think that's a good idea. So we take on note the actual need for the doing that. And his other concern, that Mr. Schwader actually went through it very well, was section 12, schedule 12 of the inspections, where the cab owner is looking at the actual manual part of the province, but really the schedule for us is just a visual structural, just basically look at the vehicle, make sure the floorboards aren't rusted out, but nothing like doing x-rays of
Measurements.
the measurements or anything like that. It's just a visual inspection.
I'm curious to know why the opposition to having the fares posted. What would be the reason that they don't want that?
Your worship, the example that the cab company gave me on our initial meeting was that, or the example he gave me was that if it goes to a hotel and they have lots of luggage, then he would increase the fare.
Couldn't that just be put on their fares, the schedule as well? Okay. Councillor Fraser, then Councillor Albertson.
I was wondering, I know that the 6-month check-in was working really well as far as some of the other bylaws we were doing. If we maybe wanted to do a 6-month check-in to see how this bylaw is working, if there's any issues after the 6 months, just so they hear that we're working with them, that we want to build the best bylaw that makes sure everything's safe, everything's legal, but that we want them to be successful too.
Your worship, I think we've done that.
Yeah.
With the initial bylaw,
Yeah.
and now it is the period of time, it come back to us, and now we're bringing back their concerns and revisions that
request, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you guys have done a great job in meeting with the owners. Councillor Alderson?
Yeah, I think so too. I think, I like these changes. To me, it's no different than if I go to a restaurant, I don't watch the menu or the pricing, I wanna know what I'm in for. And maybe there's something could be a little asterisk saying, there might be additional, I'm ordering fries and maybe I want other toppings, there's gonna be additional fees to that. Fries are this money though. So I just think that it makes sense that there's no reason that this can't be done on both sides of the tax. I think that's fine, in my opinion.
Councillor Phillips?
Administration's done a great job, looking at the issues at hand, addressing them and putting them forth in the bylaw. As far as the, having the posted rates, I think that's important from a consumer point of view to know that when you get in the cab, they know how much they're gonna be paying when they get to their destination. And you're not gonna have any fluctuations, whether it be New Year's Eve or something like that. It's a posted rate, it is what it is.
Does anybody have any other comments? Councillor Fraser?
One question on the posted rate. They're allowed to change the posted rate so long as it's posted when the person gets in the vehicle. Correct. So they have the freedom to change that. We're not stepping on that. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on this? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the point. So I'll make the first motion. Be it resolved that council give first reading to taxi bylaw 2020/16. Questions? All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Councilor Phillips?
The council gives second reading to taxi bylaw 2020/16.
All in favor of that motion? Carried. Councilor Fraser?
I'll move that council give unanimous consent to third reading of taxi bylaw 2020/16.
All in favor? Carried. Councilor Brown?
Make the motion that council give third and final reading to taxi bylaw 2020/16.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thanks for working the kinks out. Okay, we'll move on to 7.1, the fireworks bylaw. Please. All right, welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time.
It actually has.
Step in the office. So this bylaw number 2020/14 would be replacing an existing bylaw, which basically what happened is in 2019, the National Fire Code stated that the fireworks had to conform to the Natural Resources Canada Display Fireworks Manual, which I have here. And so that kind of took the control of fireworks out of it took it out of the fire code. So at this point with this new bylaw, we would have care and control of the fireworks that are happening in the town. So it would be a permit process that would come to the planning department office, and there's 3 different types of, there's consumer fireworks, display fireworks, which are more the professional level, and then also pyrotechnics, so that's all going to be addressed in this new bylaw. And with that, we would be able to just make sure that obviously safety and well-being in the community was looked after, streamline the process, the permit process, and also encompass additional items that were not included in the old bylaw. And So with pyrotechnics, there would be a fire safety plan in place, which wasn't on the old bylaw, as well as an emergency plan for discharging of display fireworks. So it is gonna be like encompassing a lot more of the safety aspects. And so it will also align with the provincial and federal regulations, so it'll bring us into alignment with that. And so my recommendation is to give first and second reading as well as unanimous consent and third reading to this fireworks bylaw. And of course, I can go into more details on the bylaw if you have any more questions or have questions.
So Charlene, I just have a question regarding the fireworks that Kirby was just talking about. What classification are those?
I haven't been involved specifically with that application because it'll be basically myself and senior peace officer Smales involved with the application, so he's been looking after that. But I believe it would be display fireworks. That is something that I'm planning to follow up with tomorrow, so.
And so how long does it take somebody to get a permit to do fireworks?
The permit process through our office will be quite expedient, but getting some of the information from them is what may take more time. So it'll be like the liability insurance, proof of their permits to, like with the display fireworks, they have to have the certification, so we would need proof of that. So basically, if it took any time, we would be getting that from them. Because for us, it's basically like, okay, we have everything we need. Everything's meeting requirements kind of thing, so it shouldn't be a long process at all.
Okay, nice to hear.
Yeah.
Councilor Fraser, did you have your?
I was just curious on the definition of pyrotechnics, just because there was a definition for display fireworks and for consumer fireworks, but is pyrotechnics, is that anything electronic, like a fog machine or a bubble machine or?
It's there.
Yeah, I thought that it was there as
So
well.
your worship, it just refers it back to the explosive regulation.
Okay, that's what I was, so, all right, under explosives.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, it'd be like something you would see at a rock concert or something like that with pyrotechnics, or, yeah. Something along those lines.
Any other questions? Anytime we can streamline something like this, I think it's great. Okay, Councilor Norton.
And this will be available on the town website, but are those regulations also available, being that some of the, like we just realized, some of the Dutch refer back to that document, so will that be?
So basically, we can put a link to it, but anyone who's doing just like fireworks already knows that they have to have, they've already like basically learned all of this for their certification, so. But it is something that we can definitely provide for sure.
Your worship, just for so council's aware, so one of the issues that we were discussing as we were going through this bylaw was consumer fireworks. So under this bylaw, so our store still can sell consumer fireworks. But where our administration is kind of going back and forth is do we allow consumer fireworks to be fired off now? So it actually is in the bylaw that they can, subject to permit. At first we were debating to say no, but we figured out that might be special circumstances that come up. They would still have to go through the permitting process for that.
So for consumer fireworks, when you go to buy those fireworks, they are also making the people that are purchasing know that they have to have a permit.
We all,
At this point, that's not regulated because some people may be going into the county or somewhere else to start running as well. So,
Okay.
not in this bylaw,
So the onus is on the consumer
yes.
to check it.
Councilor Alderson?
I was just gonna say, I like that we still are allowing it with permit. You know, every day of the year might be a bigger deal, but you know, permitting something on Canada and certainly, as long as it's weather permitting. I really enjoyed growing up with it. Now, I didn't grow up in a dry environment like Alberta, so it's a little bit different, but everybody was doing fireworks, and it was something that we all looked forward to. So I'm glad that we still have that option depending on whether we can, weather dependent and what else is going on.
And location as
And
well.
location, yeah.
Councilor Fraser?
I guess can we provide places that are selling the fireworks with the forms for the information to come and see us?
Your worship, so for them to sell it, they actually have to have the info sheet that hand out. So I think that's actually on there, but you have to check with your local authority.
Okay, any other discussion? Councillor Alt?
Is there specific places in town that they only can fire them off, or is it my backyard is?
We didn't discuss specific places, just in general, like say maybe it was a park or maybe they do have a larger acreage where the clearance is there. But we thought we would kind of look at each case and just decide if it was safe or not, based on what the fireworks require, because there is like regulations on the fireworks themselves that kind of say what they need for clearance and whatnot, so it depends what they're shooting off to. So we kind of have to look at that.
Any other questions? Okay. What would council like to do here? Councillor Alderson?
I'll make a motion that council give first reading to fireworks bylaw 2020/14.
All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you. Councillor Fraser?
I move that council give second reading to fireworks bylaw 2024.
All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you. Councillor Phillips?
I'd like to make a motion that council give unanimous consent to third reading fireworks bylaw 2020/14.
All in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Narang?
Make a motion that council give third and final reading to fireworks bylaw 2020/14.
Great. Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks very much.
I have a bunch of begins with the fireworks.
That's right. Okay, so we'll move on to 7.2, fire rescue services and fire control bylaw. I'll give it back to you.
So this new bylaw that I'm bringing forward, 2015, is to replace there's 4 existing bylaws. So this will bring everything together and make sure it's complete and comprehensive for what we need in the town. As well, if as far as enforcement, bylaw officers will be, it's very clear what they can enforce, as well as it'll outline the fire department's emergency and non-emergency services for them to provide. And so with the bylaw, it'll be the main purpose will be to deliver safety, health, and welfare for the people in town and protection of people and property. So the bylaw lines up with the quality management plan that we have existing for the fire discipline through the Safety Codes Act. And also it outlines the roles and responsibilities of the town staff as well as the fire department. It'll streamline services as well because citizens will be able to provide requests for inspections at the town office. So it won't be, sorry, we can't help you, we have to send you to the fire department and, that sort of thing. And we're there Monday to Friday all day, so we can take their call and we can handle it for them. And so that, and it'll also address anything in regard to in the prohibited debris for environmental protection through the Environmental Protection Enhancement Act is addressed, and the fire pit regulations now are clear and concise in the bylaw, so we can make it really clear for people this is what's allowed sort of thing, and make sure that's available for them as well. So I'm asking for, or saying that my recommendation is for first reading, second reading, unanimous consent, as well as third reading of this bylaw.
Again, just streamlining, it's great.
Yeah.
One stop for everything, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on this? Councillor Alderson?
I'll make a motion that council give first reading to fire rescue services and fire control bylaw 2020/15.
All in favor of that motion? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I saw your hand there, but
It was fast.
that's carried. Okay. Councilor Brown?
I'd like to make a motion that the council give second reading to fire rescue services and fire control bylaw 2020/15.
Okay, all in favor of that motion? That's carried, thank you. Councilor Narang?
I will make a motion that council gives unanimous consent to the third reading of fire rescue services and fire control bylaw 2020/15.
Thank you. All in favor of that motion? That's carried, thank you. Councilor Phillips?
I will make a motion that council give third and final reading to the fire rescue services and fire control bylaw 2020/15.
All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
7.4, how long do time? Does anybody? Great. Go a little bit longer, okay. 7.4, Mr. Schrader, or?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Same. 7.3 actually.
Sorry, quality management plan, 7.3.
So presently in the town of Rocky Mountain House, we're accredited for building and fire disciplines from the Safety Codes Act. I'm before council today in regards to a new quality management plan that would include building, gas, electrical, and plumbing to add disciplines to our accreditation. With this, by adding this, we're becoming a one-stop shop as well for homeowners, businesses within the community. If they want a permit, they can come to our office now and get all 4 disciplines, which is an added bonus for us as far as a department, because we know what's going on now, whether it's renovation or a major build. Also, there's an additional revenue for the town through this process, but it's not about the revenue, it's all about making sure that the safety of our buildings that are being built in the community are being inspected properly through our QMP. Just a couple comments in regards to, as you can see, those are the 4 disciplines that we'd be following with our new QMP. And with the new QMP, of course, we have to send it up to safety codes for their approval. And that's why I'm before council in regards to make a motion or resolution in regards to adopting the new QMP to forward up to the Safety Codes Council.
Again, I don't see any reason not to do this. I think it's great, streamlining again, and yeah. Councilor Phillips?
Yeah, I think this is a great move by administration. Keep it simple, make it easy, and then we'll also understand what's going on in our community at the same time. So it's a win-win.
Councilor Fraser, did you have your hand?
I was just gonna say, I like that it encompasses everything. The town often is the first call people make when they're doing this, and if they have to call 4 separate places, they may not get the same information or updated information. Just make sure it's updated and it's consistent, and they're getting a consistent experience the whole way through, so.
So there's a fair amount of changes being made here today, so we're gonna update the website possibly with, and inform the public that this has been done and it's
I addressed that in
done.
the communication side. Yeah, we are going to have to educate and inform the residents and businesses of Rocky Mountain House in regards to what we have to offer now within our department for permits.
I think it's great. I think, we need to let everybody know that all of these processes have been streamlined, so making it easier for development. Yeah, perfect, thanks. Okay, any other questions on this? Questions? Mr. Phillips?
I would like to look at council town quality management plan as presented and get approval from the Safety Codes Council.
All in favor of that motion? And that's carried, thank you. Thanks very much for your work. You guys have been busy down there.
Yeah.
in all this. Now we'll move on to 7.4, amendment to the fees rates and charges bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship, Council. So further to the approval of bylaw 2020-15, the fire rescue services and fire control bylaw, the amendment was required to the fees and rates bylaw. Because of the, it's a substantial amendment to the fees and rates bylaw, I always prefer to, if it's a minor amendment, I'll do an amendment to the bylaw, but when it's a fairly large amendment, I like to just repeal the old one and bring in a new bylaw number, and it just streamlines the process when people are looking for it. So, under the new bylaw, the fire rescue services and fire control bylaw, basically it was taking the fees and rates that are consistent with Clearwater County and applying those fees to the town's bylaw. One of the things, of note is that for insurance companies to pay, there is a requirement that there is a bylaw for the fees and rates for fire service. The other thing with the false alarms, and that's related to fire alarms, the intent is to, first of all, have a user-based fee so that the cost of responding to false alarms is not transferred to all the ratepayers. It should at least, a portion of it should be at least going to the person that, where there is a false alarm. Second, it helps to reduce the number of fire alarms by placing a portion of the cost on the false alarm response on the owner. So, it kind of is an incentive for them to ensure that their fire alarm is working properly. So there is, there's both an amending bylaw that's attached. And then there's a clean copy that shows all of the attachments to the schedules.
There seems to be some confusion over tennis and pickleball court fees. Should we talk about that now, or is this?
That was an administrative inquiry, but we can do it now.
Bylaws, that would make sense.
Since the
Pardon me?
bylaws.
Since the bylaws here, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've gotten some questions about, I guess, the non-booked usage of the tennis courts and the fees. When it was discussed, last summer was the discussion about this, was that the different pickleball groups wanted a booking system. And so this was set up with the fees because it needed the new meeting. Now, my impression of the fees was that that was for booked time, and that if it was under the 2 hours, or you had some kids that wanted to hit a ball around, there wasn't like a soccer field or the baseball diamonds, if it's not a booked event, that there was nobody monitoring it and collecting fees, just like any other outdoor asset of the town. But it seems that there's some confusion over whether that means everybody and if it's a court rental or if it's a person rental. So I just wanted to clear it up and maybe put that clearly in the bylaw.
Yeah, okay. Max, did you have anything?
Yeah, Your Worship, just to clarify, we are re-looking at that and trying to figure out process. The original intent, I guess, coming from the community I was at, we adopted that. It was whether you were a booked or just a drop-in use, the intent was there's a fee. It's on the it would have been on the honor system to come in, and if you're going to use the fee, the courts drop into the guest services office, pay the fee, whether it's a single use or purchase a membership, which gives you unlimited use for the season. Now I understand, there is some confusion with COVID-19. We've waived the fees, so some of the people have been using the courts without having to worry about a fee. But I think it's, I guess a recommendation that I might have is for this season, we'll just continue to offer we'll still have the ability, we have the ability within our facility booking software, and we've created each of the courts that they can be booked individually or as a group. So we can do that, and whether or not council chooses to waive that fee, and then perhaps we can revisit them during our strategic planning or we look at the budget for next year.
It makes sense to me to, if you want to book the whole court and nobody else can use it, then there's a fee. But to me, it doesn't make sense to just, drop in there and, like you say, have kids or couples or whatever go and play a game of tennis. Because we aren't doing that at, as you said, the baseball diamonds or the soccer fields or the basketball courts. Yeah, but it does make sense to me if you want to completely book it at the place so nobody else can use it. That does make sense. So, Councilor Narang, did you have any?
Yeah, that's actually what I was just gonna say, and I feel like maybe we just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Like, to talk about it enough about the impact of that, so I really actually appreciated the community feedback that we got, because it was really logical, and it was very, very helpful, actually, talking about things like soccer fields and skate parks and basketball courts, so I was really, really grateful for the community input on that. We actually didn't even go down that road when we talked about it.
No, we didn't.
So I think that this is a great conversation.
Councilor Phillips?
Actually, Councilor Ring had most of my points. Just with the addition of pickleball league, I don't know if you want to call it a league, but we've got pickleball leagues and things like that. If they want to book the courts, yes. But for the random person that goes out there for 20 minutes or half an hour, I don't think we should be.
Especially if you ever tried to play tennis with a 4-year-old.
2 hours.
Well, we just, we've changed, it's changed, we have to change.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work the way we have it set up, so that's okay, we made a mistake. We'll have to go back to the
We're
drawing board.
something new for the community, introducing a rate or a fee for the use of the tennis courts. There is an operational cost to maintain. So I think that was the intent of bringing the fees forward in the first place. Looking at the old signage that was there before we actually had rates, there actually a line at the bottom that said the court is reserved for pickleball group on Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever the nights would be, twice a week from this time to this time, even though we technically didn't have a process in place to book the courts.
Yeah, any league play, there's a fee with the league, so. Okay, so I need a motion then to change that back.
So, Your Worship, just for clarification, so if a couple wants to book the court, and they pay a fee, or is it only leagues?
I would say league play,
I think you're exclusive for
Yeah.
your.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're booking the whole, otherwise it's just, you go there, if the court's full, it's full, you wait your turn, you go back, right? But if it's full because it's booked for 2 hours every whatever, that's just part of your league. Am I understanding that correct?
Yeah, I think like Aaron said, to me, it makes sense that way, like, there's soccer fields in town and kids play on it.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna be used by a league, so no random person can just go in during those times, then there would be a fee to that league, of course. But I don't know why it should be any different. That to me, from the feedback I've got as well, people are like, is this not part of what our taxes go towards? Is 10%? There's gonna be a league that's gonna put more wear and tear on that. Of course, they should be paying fees for that, because it has to be maintained.
And it's to the exclusion of others, right?
Yes. Councilor Fraser?
And I'd say I agree with you, and the league play, I think, or private bookings. If you book this room for a party, you pay because nobody else can be in but your party. Same with if you want to book the tennis courts for a birthday party, then you pay to book it to have that exclusive access, as opposed to drop and play.
Yeah,
You know what
no,
I'm
that
saying?
makes sense. Even if it's a couple, if they're saying I want it from this time, but nobody else, it's no longer first come, first served, then it's like they are blocking that time to everybody else. You pay for that.
So private.
Private
Sure,
bookings,
yeah, exactly, yeah, good point.
We have adapted our signage there that allows us to put a weekly schedule of bookings right at the court, so people can come and say, okay, I want to drop in, but somebody else is there, no, I have this court booked from this time to this time, so. Again, would allow for that individual or the couple or to look at court, outside of perhaps league play.
Yeah.
Councillor Fraser?
I had one other question about the fee itself. If we are, if it's private bookings, I'm wondering if we should have it as a court fee, like a room fee is, say it's $100 to rent this room. Maybe instead of per person, because if I want to book it down for a 50-person game of dodgeball, paying for each person doesn't make any sense. Or if I have a youth group and I have 30 kids, but they're only playing on one of the courts and they're waiting their turn, do each of those kids pay individually? I think it would make more sense to have a single court booking fee. And if you want to play freeze tag or tennis or whatever, that court's yours because it's the time to play dog.
Councillor Brown?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It should be a court booking and again, just to concur with the other comments, it's any time, it's to the exclusion of others.
It's the same with the swimming pool. If you book the swimming pool, you don't charge if you have 50 people in there, or do you? Is it, when you book the swimming pool, is,
Yeah, if you have a private rental of the pool,
yeah,
you pay for exclusive use as a group.
Yeah.
but you can have 25 people in there, or you can have
I
5.
think the difference is in the pool, is if you get beyond a certain number, there's an extra charge for lifeguards.
Sure.
Based on your numbers, right? I think one of the other things in considering from a booking process would be school bookings or school use, even though they get it for free under the joint use, it allows us to identify that the court is booked for a group. It may not be a charge. We don't know what that's going to look like once schools get back. But I think the whole ability to reserve or book courts, whether it's for tennis or another type of use, it's dryland training for a hockey camp or something like that, in one space.
So I guess we're looking at, there's 5 items in here. So just reducing it and giving it one fee? Is that?
So your worship, what I think I'm hearing from council is, so the heading would change from tennis and pickleball courts, private or league bookings. Clear that.
Yeah.
That the adult and youth per hour per court would be eliminated. The court fee would be $7 per 2 hours. Just following the same.
Yeah, when we threw the 2 hours, it was an estimate, how long does it take to play a tennis match? Maybe less.
But I'm hearing we take that out. We eliminate that, right?
But it's,
But that would be $5.
that'd be the court fee for 2 hours, taking $7.
Okay,
And then for profits and tournament rate or league rate, I guess it's $20 per day per court. Usually the same.
so for $7 you can book the whole tennis court, 2 hours?
One of the 3.
8. I still don't,
Out for the private booking, that you excluded anybody else on it at that time.
yeah,
But the $7 would be for one of the courts, not for the whole entire. You would just be booking one of the courts.
140
If you want all 3 of them, it would be $21.
for 2 hours.
Or $20 for the whole day, or
I'm,
$60 for the whole day.
but I'm still thinking that we don't want to do that. We don't want to charge for 2 people to use a court. for
No,
2
that's
hours.
for private booking, if they want to book a time to have it.
And not just show up first come first served, and
Yeah.
God,
Right.
couldn't get it. So they're saying, we want your time, nobody else is allowed on it.
Right,
If they want to do that, you have to pay for that.
Otherwise, they just show up and try to play.
right, and if they're. Councillor Fraser?
Are we, the original one had a $250 for seniors and youth? Are we going to do a seniors and youth rate of the $5 for those groups? Just because it was in the original fees, or are we happy with the $7? Correct.
Your worship, do you want to bring it back?
Yeah,
Or-
please.
I would ask that you allow us to do
Please.
that,
Yeah.
just revisit this.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
It's sounding messy.
But we're safe to say that we're getting rid of the drop-in fee.
Well, we're not charging anything right now.
We are,
Right.
no, not right now, no.
Yeah, the motion that council had made previously with COVID is that the courts were open, people could use them, and that we would introduce the rates once our facilities were allowed to be open.
Sure.
So if council wants to extend that, no charge for now, and allow administration to revisit the whole fee structure, and then we can bring that back.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. I'm good with that.
So your worship, I think administration, just like council, will postpone this whole bylaw
Sure.
until July 7th. And for administration, which also can support fees.
What day are you?
I'm pushing everything to July 7th.
Okay, that sounds good. That's good.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, right, okay, he's on vacation. Councillor Durang?
I just have probably a really dumb question I should know the answer to. I'm going back to Schedule H with the fees. So who would we charge these fees? Like for an aerial unit, $800, is that just saying, is that just outlining what we're?
Your worship, so, I mean, it's in the bylaw, like if they respond to a structural fire in town, there's no charge for that. But you have to establish those fees, for example, if they, when they went to BC or up north, those fees are charge-out rates for those individuals. They go on basically mutually.
Okay, so just a motion then to move this whole, okay, Councillor Auld, want to read that motion, please?
Be it resolved that council postpone amending bylaw 2020/17 to the July 7th regular council meeting, and to include a report on tennis and pickleball court fees. Is that word? Okay.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. Okay, everybody's clear on that motion? Okay, all in favor of the motion? And that's carried, thank you. So, moving on to 7.5, the Youth Advisory Committee.
Well, now I know that's me this time.
Your worship,
Yeah.
if I could just speak to that.
Yes.
So there's an error in the notice of motion. It should read that council instructs administration to draft a policy with a term of reference to create a youth advisory council for council consideration.
So now I speak on why I think this is important, is that what I'm doing now? Though I did it last time too. So I guess I'm just asking council to support this notice of motion, but I think that it would be a great addition to our community as a whole and would increase the political advocacy for youth, hopefully develop more interest in what's happening around this level and create an environment where great information is being shared.
I think it's a great idea, and I also had a meeting with a high school teacher last week and told her we were doing this, and she was very excited about it and said, if we want any assistance, reach out, so. Councilor Phillips?
I think this is a great idea, getting information out at a council level, through a youth group, is much better than getting on a survey.
Councilor Auld?
So when does youth meet at our council meeting?
I'm not sure how that works, but I think they have their own. Is that generally how they have their own meetings discussing the same topics that we are discussing and then they bring back?
Yeah, or topics that council wants.
Then, okay, yeah,
Like, our environmental committee
yeah,
would be an
they
ideal
have representation.
to have youth on that committee for sure. Councilor Fraser?
I think this is great. It's another connection with our youth, it's a connection with our schools, and I know it will answer for a lot of the time honored question of why do I have to learn this? They can actually see that, their research goes into decisions, which goes into changes in their community. It'll help them understand the role of government their whole lives. I think it's important.
Councilor
I
Brown?
think it's a way of grooming our future leaders.
Absolutely, yeah. for sure.
It's a great way of educating future voters.
Yes.
And they can help educate as well, right?
Absolutely.
Be the liaison to their schoolmates.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So, were you gonna make that motion then now?
Yeah, so, do I? That
Would
was
you like me to
correct,
read that
yeah,
again? Sure. That council instructs administration to draft a policy with a term of reference to create a youth advisory council for council consideration, and I have a date here for the July 21st council meeting, which gives us administration some time to pull that together.
That's great. All in favor, all in favor of that motion? That's carried. I was gonna ask if there was any more questions, but. Okay, moving on to number 8. We don't have any correspondence for action. So just looking for a motion for correspondence for information to accept 9.1 to 9.13 as force for information. Councillor Alderson, all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Okay, it is 2:15. Shall we take a 5-minute break? Okay, I'll call a 5-minute break. What's happening here? There we go. Okay, it is 2:23 and I'll call the meeting back to order. We'll move on to 10.1, the CAO report. And I'll turn it over to our CAO.
Thank you, Worship. So just highlights from the past month. So meeting with the Provincial Operations Center on obviously the provincial COVID response. I do have the airport committee listed here, but after writing this report, that meeting was canceled. So that did not occur. Meeting with Sonavera on the Eco Center, Peace Committee, we had a FEMA meeting, and of course working with legal counsel on the RAS issue. Last month, we also shut down the town's ECC for the COVID response. It's no longer required. Starting to open now. But the directors and I still meet for the plans and requirements. Then I guess in the last bullet there, meeting with the EAA on the PACE program. Since writing this report, that's also been changed. The province is shutting down the EAA, moving it over to Municipal Climate Change Action Center. So we're not sure if that's going to delay that program or not. They're saying it'll be a smooth transition. And then also you can see our legislative service report, our communication officer reports, coordinator, and plus our health and safety reports. So, any questions?
Should we be asking the question, I know how much time you guys have put in on the PACE program. Should we be writing a letter to find out or encourage them to continue with some sort of program?
All of this partner, she's in contact.
So we have a meeting on Wednesday with them. I've actually gone through, it's a design document with EEA. And it just kind of highlights some of the historical improvements that have been made in Rocky Mountain House with upgrades under different programs through EEA. So that information's been included, and really what they're gonna have to go back to this and make amendments to it to account for the transition to MCCAC. So there is an FCM grant that we're applying for that's due at the end of June. So I'm assuming that all of their documents and everything, like they're gonna have to get on it because the deadline for submission is the end of June. So I'm hoping that they'll have everything changed over. Now, as far as the transition to MCCAC, I will know more on Wednesday. However, there have been delays because the agreements haven't been done that, we've been waiting on, and we have created a spreadsheet though for people that have been contacting us so that we can contact them once we're ready to have an open house and ready to start training some of the contractors. So on our end, we're doing really what we can, and we're going through the documents that they're providing and doing edits to it if need be. And we have been putting, we have been asking them for, deadlines and, when we can expect things. And now with this change, we only heard about this late last week. So I will have more information on Wednesday after we have a meeting with them, so.
I have a sustainability and environment AUMA committee meeting on Friday, and I haven't had a chance to look at the agenda, but I'm wondering if there will be something like that in there, and I'll keep everybody posted on what their plans are there too. Councilor Fraser and then Councilor Delaney.
It's just quite frustrating. The provincial government came to us during COVID and said, what are some programs to help stimulate the economy? And PACE was one of those programs that all of the work and legwork had been done. It was ready to go. Turnkey operation for economic stimulus in our area, and to have it kind of pulled out from under us. I hope they've got plans to get things back on track, because that's really frustrating.
Councilor Narang?
Yeah, I'm just curious, what is it, because we did do all the legwork, we had everything kind of in place and ready to go. What are we needing from the province with regards to the program that stands?
Your Worship, the next major one is an agreement with us and the province for the program.
And is it because it has to do with lending and things like that? Is that why?
No, it's because the applications for the PACE program actually go to the province, and they approve the project. My personal opinion, the province should just get out of it.
Yeah.
Change legislation so it can be just a municipal program. So maybe that's something to suggest to have read.
Because that's kind of what I thought we had developed, was something that we could administer ourselves and not have to go through the official.
No, it was always a requirement that we had to go to BEA. To be quite honest with you, if that portion was eliminated, it would actually be better for our citizens in the aspects of quicker process. But EEA or province also charges an admin fee. So that's an additional cost to the residents at the end of the day. So we could have the same program without that admin fee. It was just a useful program.
Do you think that would be something at AUMA as far as resolution goes? For something along those lines, getting the province out of that, is that something that would be a reasonable resolution at AUMA?
I think we could reach out to Chai Wei,
Yeah,
Chung, and he's the lead on sustainability and environment. And ask if there has been the thought to put that forward through AUMA. Okay, I can ask Chai Wei. I'm just writing this down right now. Okay. Any other questions on CAO report? I'll make a motion to accept the CAO report as presented. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. So we'll move on to 10.2, director's reports. We'll start with recreation and community services. Welcome again.
Good afternoon again, Your Worship, and council. Yes, so I'm going to try to reduce the length of my report today. You have it in front of you. I'll give you a couple of quick highlights of things that have changed since the report was done at the end of May. Obviously, the thing that we're working on mostly right now is our relaunch plan. Now that the government has announced that we can open our facilities in stage 2. So that's consumed a lot of our time figuring out what are the actual requirements specifically with cleaning, opening up, and that. So I believe that we'll be discussing that a little bit later as well. The Grand Parade set for June 26th, starting at 2:30, I believe, which is the mayor, you're driving the car. We've also received inquiry from our MLA who's going to participate in the parade as well. And the schools are both on board. We're good to go. So I believe that our communications coordinator is doing social media posts with the parade route. Should be a good day to cross your fingers the weather is good.
Yeah, hopefully it is.
Numerous meetings attended. Just an update on some of the projects. The CHP unit is on schedule. We're doing a remote commissioning here by the end of the month, and then working on the final report to MCCAC with regard to the grant. And ATCO Gas, who's our provider that's been working with us on the program, is assisting with that report as well. So it should be good to go. Rain Ice Plant, the commissioning is well underway. We posted some video today of them removing the condenser in the stands and the C-can. As of today, that will all be gone. And we'll have a void there. They'll be here at the end of the week to start looking at the pilings and making the site ready for the new plant. So we've taken out the old compressors. We're able to post them for sale. They were purchased in 2010. There's still some value to them. They're on skids, so they've been put into storage, and we'll be advertising those for sale. I'm not sure. We have a rough idea based on the manufacturer what they might be worth, but again, it's whatever the market will be at this point. The aquatic center, the sand filter replacement, sand filters are in. Final work was done in piping, I believe today. They did a site cleanup, and as soon as the water's in, they can commission and we'll be good to go. the Sound Baffle project. Again, we're just awaiting for the arrival of the baffles themselves. The estimated 4 to 6 weeks, and then it'll be another 7 to 10 days for the install, another week after that to get the water in the pool. So we have an estimated date of August the 10th as reopening date to the public. So we are again caught a little bit off guard, we're moving to stage 2 right away as opposed to being open in stage 3. So I don't believe that we are alone in the province with being caught a little bit off guard with some of our projects and work that we're doing.
Well, the good thing is that the pool won't have to be closed down in September.
No, we'll be able to run with it, right? Not quite sure. I know that our pool manager has a plan in place, based on AHS recommendations, what that's gonna look like, bather load. The Life Saving Society has a formula based on square footage per participant as to how many people you can allow in the facility, and one-way traffic and those types of things. So we've got that plan in place. It's just a matter of, we'll see what happens between now and August with reopening for the aquatic center anyways. Spring Park project. So we did award the project to IMC Construction. We had 2 bids on the project. One was over budget, one was under budget. As you know, yesterday they were on site and actually started earthwork. Meeting with the Spring Park Council just to choose colors. That'll happen on Thursday, and then we can move forward. And I did post a picture, and you probably have seen that the cooperative park sign has been put up.
Very nice.
We're good there. And I guess I'm happy to report that all of my projects are on budget or under budget. So they don't have to come back to you asking for money. And then as far as maintenance departments, the arena, just highlighting, if you have any questions, I know from FCSS perspective, Rebecca is working on new plans for the Guys Unleashed program now that we're allowed to reopen. She's tweaking that, hopefully that will go off yet this summer. FCSS did have their retreat and strategic planning session on June the 10th. A full report from Andrew on that, but apparently it was a very successful retreat that they had. I'm sure from the arena side of things, they continue working on projects. We did sell the old Zamboni. Yesterday was the closing date for bids, and we sold it for $7,200, which is more than what I expected, and it's going to the Farrier Community
Nice.
Organization. So,
Well, that's awesome.
That crossed my mind that they might be interested in that.
Good, that's great.
and I mentioned that we have the old reciprocating compressors will be listed for sale. And then as far as the attendance, with the reopening, the new cleaning requirements, so we're working on what's that look like. Are we gonna have to add more hours? Obviously, budget for cleaning supplies and those things will reflect some of the additional requirements that's coming our way. And so as far as guest services, they're busy, prepping for the season. I have a meeting tomorrow actually with the president of minor hockey and the junior league, just talking about relaunch and then some of the follow-up to some of the things that we've got from an interior facility changes to accommodate some of their needs for male and female dressing room or referee dressing room spaces, coaches dressing room, training room for the junior bees. So we're looking at actually turning one of those rooms into a flex room that can be used for multiple uses. Meeting tomorrow with those user groups just to touch base and start planning on what that relaunch will look like when it comes to September for hockey. And then in the aquatics report, the manager has listed all the various things that they've been tackling as well. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you.
Anybody have any questions? I'm good, great report, thanks.
Yep.
So we'll move on to corporate services, please.
Again, your worship and council. So we've been, it's almost like a hiatus. We finished the year end and we got the tax notices out. And pretty soon we'll start planning for next year's budget. Taxes were mailed out. We have had phone calls. I don't know if it was more than last year. Either staff, the tax coordinator, myself, have been able to manage them. And if people are unhappy with their assessments, we refer them to the assessor. So we have been manning phone calls. I am trying to do a bit of an analysis on assessments because I know there's been some discussion. She was gonna come here today, but didn't get it booked. We hired a new finance manager. Her name is, I don't know if I can say her last name, I hope she's not watching. Her name is Nicole. She started work on June 1st. She comes to us with municipal experience. She's a CPA. She's also worked with a CA firm and audited municipalities. So we're really looking forward to working with her. The staff, I think, are really enjoying working with her. And her expertise and knowledge, I'm finding, is excellent. So I think it's a really good fit, and we're really looking forward to having her on board. Continue to work with the ledge clerk on the FCM programs on the books for June. I guess the big things is on the 27th, so next weekend, we're gonna do the final conversion of the chart of accounts to the new chart, so we'll have all of that cleaned up. And then as soon as that's done, then we can finish the Questica conversion, which is creating a link between the actual data and the budget. So the actual data will be loaded. I think we can do it daily if we want, but be loaded into Questica, and managers have access so they can go in and look at their departments and monitor their budget. So that's hopefully going to be done by mid-July. And the only other one that was a little unusual was the province did issue a ministerial order on the DIP property taxes. It's a new tax. It's been around for a couple of years. It's the designated industrial property tax. They took some of it, the properties away from the munis, and they do the assessment and send out like they manage it and then tell us what the rate is. They forgave anything that if a municipality owed under less than $1,000, which we did. So we had to notify I think it was 16 properties affected. So we've sent a letter out to the 16 properties, and they ranged from 12 cents to $266. So for us, it's a very small tax, and they forgave it. And we're setting up lots of training and getting everybody trained so that we're all ready to start we're already starting the new year. It's in 2021. And we're working on the Canadian Award for Financial Reporting Program. I feel like I'm setting myself up here a little bit, but they have extended the deadline to July 31st, but we've completed all the statistical analysis, and we just have to do the front end of the document, and we're hoping to submit. It's kind of like an annual report, but kind of a bit more of a slant towards financials, but we're hoping to submit that this year.
Thanks. Well, I just want to, the new finance manager is just filling in an existing position. That wasn't creating a new
It was a
position, just so
an existing
exactly.
position. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to planning and community development.
Again. So just in regards to my report, a few things regarding the economic development. Canada Day this year is a virtual online, starting of course on July 1st at 9 a.m. So Elder, Mayor Burke, Reed Hovind, MLA Nixon, and Parks Canada rep will be doing greetings. There is Clearwater Idol again this year for that event. Local talent showcasing. Also, there'll be a couple of concerts, one during the day and then one at 9 o'clock. Local talent for Canada Day virtual. Planning for Market on Main, and it starts next Thursday, the 25th. So on Main Street, we're working a few logistics out. I think we have everything under control in regards to that event. So far right now, I think we have 25 vendors. So hopefully after we showcase the first night, more vendors will see what we're up to on Main Street, and hopefully more will come on board in regards to the event. Visitor's guide, I think it's at the printers right now for our local area. In regards to our EDO and the Clearwater County EDO, we're still working with local businesses and showcasing them and asking them questions on video. Our latest one was with Shane Buss from the co-op. He did a very good job in talking about COVID and how the co-op's been managing. Rocky Passport, Shop Local, starts on Thursday this week. We have 45 businesses signed up for this one. And if businesses want to sign up, even after when it starts, they're more than welcome to sign up. I think it's very economical, and we're running that till, I think, the last week in August, I believe. So the EDO and Chamber of Commerce is working together on this project. In regards to planning and community development, development permit was issued for quasi-public use for the Rock for an emergency shelter, which is in the process of being posted on site. So if someone needs to appeal it, they can. But the drop-in center's there until October 31st, 2020. In regards to the Tearaway map, I just commented on this because I think it was brought up at the COVID task. It's a chamber project. They developed the map itself, but the town and the county do cost share regarding the printing of the map. They are available at the chamber of the VIC, but they do encourage, and a lot of businesses know that that's where they pick them up, showcase them in their own businesses. Town QMP is supposed to be RFP for proposal, not D. We are in the process of doing a proposal for inspection agencies for the QMP. Then it closes tomorrow in regards to submissions for the RFP. Just in regards to development agreement has been signed and completed to 58 8th Street. I'm not sure if everyone's noticed, there's a lot of construction going on up there in regards to water and sewer being tied into and working towards the development of their little close there. In regards to protective services, as of I think today, but June 15th, the Alberta government has regarding the enforcement of the Public Health Act, COVID-19, my peace officers are no longer required to issue social distancing or infractions of COVID-19 guidelines. Also, they are still, of course, enforcing or monitoring Traffic Safety Act and bylaw violations. I did attach to this report the 4 speed signs that we have located throughout the community. I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to look at them. Some of the stats are kind of interesting in regards to some in regards to some of the averages. On 52nd Avenue and 56th Street, which is Highway 11A, which is in front of the Westview Lodge. Average speed on that is 50 kilometers through. So of course you've got some high ones, you've got some low ones, but the average speed on a daily basis is roughly between as low as 38 on one day up to 51. So
Limit is 50,
in average, yeah.
but that's what the speed limit is also?
Yeah.
Okay.
So on 57th Street, which is by the Lions Church, it is zoned for 30 kilometers, and as you can see there, that's probably the highest average throughout the whole process as far as collecting the speed. Some of them are 35, 36 in a 30 zone, so I'm not sure what that indicates, but so. In regards to 50th Avenue and 56th Street, this is the one that's west of the town office, going down the hill. I think the speeds are fairly average on that one as well. Below average is 47. And then the last one, of course, is on 60th Street, down in front of the Latter Day Saints Church. And as you can see, the average speed is 50, but of course, you've got some high ones and low ones along there, but on average, it's 50. So interesting data that we sorry, Councilor Ellis?
That's surprising.
Yeah, and as you can see, like it does show the some speeds are it's 33, which I think has been lower since we originally put them out from the 81 and above. It's 33 at times it's been clocked at.
That street is one of the places you had to sign up, correct? Which was slow you down.
I'm sorry,
That was one of the places that had to sign on that road.
Yeah.
Setting your speed.
Yeah.
So looks like it's working.
So.
Yeah.
There are still infractions, don't get me wrong, I walk the path on a regular basis and I'll see infractions, but, but as far as the stats show that,
It just
people are,
becomes one direction too, right?
only goes from north to south.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in the process of raising our speed signs in new locations here at the beginning of July, so.
Okay.
Any questions?
I have a question about the tear sheet.
Sure.
So I see, there's a legend with the David Thompson Country. Is there a possibility that we could somehow link the businesses that are registered on our website? We're trying to encourage businesses to get on the directory. Is there a way that we could somehow get them on a legend and put them on the map on here?
I guess there would be. I guess it all depends how many, of course, if all 500 sign up, it might be difficult.
That's true.
Presently, I think we only have 76 businesses lined up or on our business directory, which we have an average of more than 500 businesses that we send notices to.
Right.
Also with that, they print a large quantity, so they'll probably go through this year or next year, and probably 2022 is probably when Chamber will do that again. So that's an option, I guess, in year 2022 when they review the map.
Right. Okay, Councilor Fraser, then Councilor Alden.
Probably not for this printing, but in the future, we could possibly do a QR code that would link them to a live map. And that way that could be updated, that would get updated, and we wouldn't be printing out-of-date information.
Right.
One of the businesses dropped out or new ones added on, it would be current. And that wouldn't take up as much space on the map. So people who wanted to have a live map.
Would just be on our website then.
On the QR code are those little black and white squares that you see that you can scan with your phone.
Okay.
And it will take you to a website. So
There'd have to be a host for that map somewhere, but yeah, there's our the Chamber site, yeah.
I think that's worth it looking at, just to keep it updated constantly. And that would maybe encourage businesses too to get on, to sign up for the directory so that they could be on there.
I was just thinking maybe for almost like a gold, silver, whatever sponsor, that type of thing, where maybe they want to pay an additional fee that would go to the chamber, maybe for whatever purposes. And maybe they could be one of the few that would actually have not just a QR code, but a physical.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's opportunities to improve it.
Improve it, yeah, I agree. Any other comments on that? Questions for? Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to Director of Engineering and Operations. Hello, Mr. Shank.
Good afternoon, Your Worship. A couple updates on my report. The TELUS is committed to pay for the damages done to our sewer main out by the lagoon. The work is going to start Thursday. They'll be completed Friday. There will be no impact on the town or traffic on the highway there. The four-way stop intersection appears to be working well. We have received no complaints on that whatsoever. So that's great. Lagoon desludge. We got word back from Dairyland. They're going to be in at the end of June. Hopefully completed in a month, a little better than a month. The capital projects, 54th Street, 47th, and the 2020 paving projects are all on schedule. The work is to start, pretty much all the projects are going to start on the 22nd of June. That being said, 54th Street, the only work they're really doing at the end of the month is just pumping out the water on Creekside, south of the railway tracks. They will start the earthworks the first week in July. And that is it.
When do we anticipate 54th Street being done? I guess it's weather dependent.
It is weather dependent. What we asked was to have it opened at the end of this working season to a gravel state. Whether that happens or not, we're not sure, just because of the weather. And we're also having a couple issues with CN Rail. But the project is slated to actually be completed by September of 2021.
Nice. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Report. So just a motion to accept the director's reports, please, as presented. Councilor Fraser?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Move on to number 11.1, the action list. Do you have any questions on the action list? Okay. Just motion to accept the actions list then, please. Councilor Lorraine. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 11.2, the community grants update. And as I said earlier, that's stalled until September. So just a motion to accept the community grants. Councilor Alt list. You have that, Renee? Good. Motion. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, does anybody have any administrative inquiries? I have two, actually. I'm just wondering if you know if the reuse center is open, and if it's not, when will it be open to the public?
Your worship, all of that, I know my last discussion with Mr. Williams coming to school, it was still closed.
Okay. All right. And my other question is, I love the four-way stop up here. My only question now is, what's going to happen when school comes in? I'm wondering, is it time to look at that boulevard that's behind the subway, that strip mall there, and make it so that people can make a right-hand turn there? Councilor Alt?
I brought that up a long time ago. We have financial
Was it? Okay, yeah.
I brought that up.
Works like that. I think that's on the 2021 capital list.
Okay. I really have concerns because already now the side street in front of Cherub's is really busy on school mornings, and I can almost see it really being
Backed up right there.
congested mess right there. And so I just really would like to look at that and find out, just so we're prepared. I love the four-way stop. I think it's ideal.
Yes,
Yeah.
Does council want us to make this cost forward now, consideration or before the 20?
I think before school starts, maybe if it's possible.
Mr. Shanks.
Okay.
See the cost.
Because we must have done a traffic count in that spot, right? There must be traffic count information.
Your worship, I know we did a traffic count, what we stopped is.
Yeah, so that might be useful, what it's gonna do.
What it will divert.
Well, it just, that service road there too, I know with pedestrians crossing, it's kind of a disaster there. So, and I know people take that in order to get away from having to wait for the light. So is there a way we can alleviate that? I just think it's an area that we really need to look at.
We could leave some of the pressure off of the intersection at Shoppers Drug Mart as well.
Yes, correct.
For sure.
You know, they close out the one road just for buses and stuff. I don't know, I assume because maybe there was an issue in the past. I'm just wondering if that was ever opened up. It might ease traffic flow on this side
That'd be
too, so.
so nice.
You mean down Clear?
Yeah,
Yes.
where it's closed there, and I actually don't know the full story of why it's closed. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, but maybe it might be worth looking into for certain hours that it's open, so that it eases the flow of traffic.
Especially for people that are dropping children on at elementary school and high school, or like myself, that would be so amazing if that was open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that part of this, isn't that school property, not school decision, by they have a lot of traffic going in?
I think it would be really busy through that parking lot then too. I don't know.
That's what they do. want to-
Yeah.
Traffic going through the parking lot.
Well, and then heading over to 54th Street, I can see that being a bit of a mess too, but can we maybe turn that over to the experts and look at that? Okay. Does anybody have any other administrative inquiries? Okay. Does anybody have any notices of motion? Okay. Seeing none, it is 3:01. I'll call a 5-minute break before we go into closed session.